What it do, golf fans? Welcome back to the Turn to Ours Golf Podcast. This is Liam. Alongside me is Jack. Jack, we had a really bad weather week at AT&T.
I swear on my life, I thought you were about to say a bad week.
No. Great week. Horrible weather. Rory McIlroy pulls out the win. Pretty crazy all-around week in general. But what'd you think of it? Any highlights? Anything you want to comment on? Etc.
Justin Rose, baby, my guy. We'll obviously touch on that here in 30 seconds, but I told you guys, episode 1 of the year, Rory McIlroy is going to have an arguable career year, and he's already cementing himself. And it's really a benchmark course in golf. And if you don't know what that is, Rory McIlroy spoke on that a little bit of like Pebble, St. Andrews, Augusta, some courses that he historically hasn't won at, in some cases hasn't played well at. So in order for him to break that mold and just dominate the way he did, holy moly, he is on a crash course for player of the year. And I love it because I love Rory McIlroy. If you're new to the game of golf, and I say new in the last 4 or 5 years because of COVID, you will not know the dominance, the stretch of pure golf that Rory McIlroy played. Recency biased, obviously. You know him as like the 5th best guy in the world. Spoiler alert: this guy was Scotty before Scotty in an asterisk form. So
True.
Love to see it. Cam Davis, shot of the year already. I don't know how you top that. That was the first of all,
let's be clear. You're talking in the tree, right? In the tree with the roots to like 2 feet.
All you dumb amateurs, he's obviously going to get spin. The spin wasn't the impressive part. Like, you idiots on Twitter and everything, oh my God, the spin. He has to chop it. What do you think's going to happen? You dopes. Yeah. What was really impressive was the contact. The fact he landed it within 10 feet of he had to get up and like.
You had to get it up over a bunker, but then also down on the green, short of the hole. Yeah. Have it try and like not go crazy in terms of spin. Yeah, it was a overall pretty insane sequence.
Yeah, it was nasty, but yeah.
He also had a shot where he bounced it onto the green, but off of somebody else's golf ball, lands into the fringe / rough, and then chipped in as well on Sunday. Less exciting, but again, just add that on top of the otherwise crazy day that was Sunday at Pebble Beach. So that was very interesting. Let's also talk about Lucas Glover somehow finishing T3, T4. That was kind of crazy. Like, he was not one I anticipated to being up there. He was, I think, 6,100 this past week. So that was a true surprise. I know Jack doesn't really care as much about the Glover, but very interesting in my opinion.
It's interesting, but it's also not interesting. And the reason I say it's not interesting is because the course conditions played to what an Open Championship traditionally does. And when that weather kicks up, you saw a lot of the guys that were playing well also played well at Royal Troon. So a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge there. If you know, you know. And I think that's why those guys, like Justin Rose, who I shout out, my guy, won me way more money than I accidentally should have. And love to see it. Justin Thomas obviously sucked, but you could tell his iron play was spectacular. You saw just a bunch of, like, Tommy was playing really good. Lowry was playing good. A lot of guys that you saw play well at Royal Troon played well here. So,
all right, let's go through some of my notes here on the week, unless you have any other major highlights you want to dig into first.
No.
Okay, that's fine. Winner, Rory McIlroy. Notable guys, there was no cut, so technically there were no notable guys to miss the cut. But Ludwig Gobert and Max Grazerman both WD'd this past week.
Oh, Max Grazerman, my hand hurts, baby.
Yeah, that was a little soft from Grazerman, in my opinion. But Ludwig Gobert, I guess, was not as healthy as he originally stated.
No, screw you, Ludwig. First of all, I love him. He's one of my favorite golfers. I can't even take that. But, like, don't go into a week, do 7 press conferences where, like, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling fine. That was a hiccup. And then go out on the first tee and keel over. Like, that's just – it's not cool.
Yeah. Some of the best low price players that we were all over. Lucas Glover, I liked him. T3, I liked him, and then didn't put him in any lineups. By the way, last week I listened back through what we posted on the pod, Jack, and I was like, yeah, Lucas Glover's like should be a really solid option this week. Like he'll fit this course pretty well. His iron play is going to be good. He's going to be just fine. Didn't put him in anything, and I was like, of course, Liam. That's the way that goes. So T3 out of him, that was good. Adam Scott finished T25. That was pretty solid considering he was as cheap as he was. And then I called a pretty rough week coming out of Ludwig Aubert. My number was right around T30. Turns out he withdrew anyways. But again, I was not very high on him, needless to say. My big miss more than anything else was that I had Rory finishing closer to T20 and he won. So it happens. I didn't think that highly of him in terms of winning at Pebble Beach, because Jack kind of highlighted he generally doesn't play well on those prestige level courses like the Pebble Beaches, like the Augustas. So I didn't think he was going to win it, and he did. So good for him. Beyond that, any other highlights? I mean, Scotty kind of did what Scotty did. He finished T10 or so, first week back. So.
Wasn't T26. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He was on a crash course. He came into Sunday at T23. I'm like, oh my God, if he actually does this.
He was on it for a little while. So nothing crazy. Do you want to talk at all about your DraftKings, your FanDuel?
No, because they sucked because Ludwig withdrew. Justin Thomas played lefty, and Bo Hostler sucked. So no.
That's fair. Mine was slightly better than they sucked. But I did have Jordan Spieth on both, who finished T69. I also had Ben Griffin on both, who also finished T69. I had Colin on both, who finished T17. I had Hideki on both, who finished T48. I had JD on one, who finished T13. So I think I won on double ups for FanDuel because I had JD T13 and Colin T17. I didn't win anything on DraftKings, so not my best week of all time. On to bets. How'd your bets do last week?
Spectacular. Up 0.26 units, ladies and gentlemen.
I just realized you said spectacular for going up 0.26. All right. Yeah.
Listen, we were down in the slumps for a little bit. But Rory beating Scotty, told you guys so. Plus 175 was nice. Eric Cole top 40, sweat free. Justin Rose top 40, sweat free. I had Aubert beating Hovland and Højgaard. Obviously, Aubert had a disease that I'd like to make up right now and say, but I won't, to be couth. Patrick Cantlay top 20. He played fine. Like, he missed the number, but he actually played fine. Like, I can sit here and say, oh, he didn't suck. He just played fine. Like, 2 under, hey, is fine. It just didn't cut it. Bo Hostler. Now, that I have a problem with. Bo Hostler top 30. I think he finished bottom 10. And I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. I don't know what happened to him, but I'd have to look at the data, but I did not. I was upset. But 0.27 units on the year, ladies and gentlemen.
That Rory over Scotty helped you out a ton at plus 175.
I was so confident on that, I can't even tell you.
You were so what?
Confident.
I mean, more power to you. Rory scared me this past week, so you were clearly high up on him, and I wasn't. All right, well, good job. You're up 0.27 units on the year. As far as my bets go, I had 4 of them. I went 2-1-1. My only loss being Rory McIlroy, 13th or worse. Whoops. I had Tommy Fleetwood over Victor Hovland. That ended up washing because they tied. I had Jason Day over Sam Burns at plus 100. That was a win. And then I had Jordan Spieth over Wyndham Clark at plus 110. Let's just say that neither of them necessarily played their best golf this week.
No, the best that one played in an 80-person field with 2 withdrawals was 69.
Yeah, that was Jordan Spieth, though. I just want to highlight, by the way, like 4 or 5 holes into Sunday at one point, I was looking 0 for 4 on bets. It was not pretty. But overall, to end the week, I am up 1.1 units on the week. That has me up 11.64 units on the year, which is great. We take that every time. We'll just gain a unit every week, and I don't know. See you at the end of the season, I guess. Sound good, Jack? Yeah.
Fair enough.
So how about you? Want to go wild cards? I know you had what,
Well,
5, 6 of them.
yep, I had 5 wild cards, and I will preface, Jack may have accidentally put a full unit on all of these wild cards because I don't know if you guys bet on DraftKings. If you guys do solos or whatnot, you can do an option to bet on all. And that's what I usually do for my bets because I like them, I click them, I do it, and I keep them in the pool. So Jack may have bet a full unit on him, and they didn't allow any cash outs. And Jack's nards were sweating a little bit. But Justin Rose top 5, 25-1 or plus 2,500, whatever you're from, absolutely smacked. And I technically went up like 18.27 units on the week, even though the bets I talked about gave me 0.26 or whatever. So Jack is very happy from last week.
Yeah, Jack ended up with a much better week than the 0.26 that you originally see when you look at his win loss on his actual sheet. So pretty good week from him. For my wild card, I had Hideki Matsuyama top 10 at plus 250. That was a loss. Not really all that close. I think he finished again like T48. So never really in it. So winners. How'd your winners do?
Fine. I had Cantlay, who again played fine. He didn't play bad. I had Justin Rose, which nice little T3 there, or third. I can't remember if it was solo or tied. And then I had Hostler, who just sucked. I got nothing else to say about that.
That makes sense. For my winners, I had Morikawa T17, Jason Day T13, and then Maverick McNeely at one point, I think on like Friday, might have been top 5, and he finished T40. So for whatever reason, he just kind of fell apart, but it happens. Overall, 2 top 20s out of the other 2 guys, not the worst thing on the planet. So, sweet. All right, with that, let's jump into our next tournament. If you don't have anything else, Jack, we are going to the Waste Management at TPC Scottsdale in Phoenix.
The lamest event on the PGA Tour schedule, because I'm an old head. But I digress. It's fun. You can like the 16th, 17th hole, whatever. It's cool. You guys are ruining golf. But hold on. What I want to say though, this will be the 3rd edition of the Waste Management Phoenix Open here. This is the event that kickstarted us. So for all of you that have joined with us, won hopefully a lot of money with us. If you've listened to us for 3 years, you'd be up. We calculate it was like almost 200 units between the 2 of us. So thank you to each and every one of you. My Venmo is Jack. No, I'm just kidding. Doesn't owe me anything. But just thank you guys. Obviously 3 years is just crazy. And being almost 200 units up, not charging a single penny, never asking for anything, and just kind of giving you guys free stuff. Hopefully you guys appreciate that as much as we appreciate you.
If you appreciate it, drop a like, drop a subscribe, drop a follow, depending on however you listen to us, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, whatever else it might be. Again, just see if you're following along. We post basically every Monday night, sometime between 9 p.m. and midnight Central Time, depending on whenever I can get the podcast out. So there you go. All right, with that, on to the Waste Management. This is a course that is kind of near and dear to my heart. I actually worked this event back in college, so it was a pretty good event, all things considered, back then. But the event has pretty drastically changed in the past 8 years or so, in my opinion. It's a bit of a circus is maybe the best way to describe it now. Lots of you remember last year were on Saturday. They basically lost control of the entire tournament, turned into a bit of an ugly scene. Some pretty
losers.
What's up?
You guys are losers. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, there was some bad inebriation across the course. Hopefully that is fixed for this year. We don't want that to really be the scene that's remembered in the Waste Management. But Jack kind of highlighted the last 7 or 8 holes or so are actually super interesting on this course. So 11 is the hardest course.
In the tournament setup, the only interesting hole in the non-tournament setup is 17. Everything else I could care less about.
Yeah, in the tournament setup. So 11 is actually statistically the hardest hole on this course. It's a par 4, water all along the left to kind of a peninsula green. So that's a very interesting spot. 13 is the easiest hole in the course. It's pretty straightforward, par 5. You have 15, that's par 5 with a ton of water. 16 is actually a really easy par 3, except you have 20,000 drunk, inebriated fans that are going to yell at you the whole time. So outside of that, you're probably hitting like a 9-iron or a gap wedge if you're a pro. 17, Jack stated, pretty fun hole, actually. It's a drivable par 4. It's got water in play along the left. And then 18 is a tough little par 4, in my opinion, especially if you miss the fairway. There's some bunkers on the left, some fun on the right. So somebody's going to shoot 6 under in that stretch. Somebody's also going to shoot 4 over, depending on how many water balls they hit. So it could be kind of fun. Just to note, this course is normally dominated by ball strikers. You basically need to be able to hit irons from all different distances on this course. And elite iron play usually leads to success here. If you do that, keep it out of the desert, keep it out of the water, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Putting is pretty random this week. I'm going to be absolutely honest. So good iron play, and if you want to be able to keep the driver on the planet, are your 2 main highlights.
Fun fact, this is the only course that Jordan Spieth has played over 6 times and has negative strokes gained putting on. But he does well here. But it's the only course in his entire repertoire that he's played 6 times. It's weird.
There you go. It is a little funky, but again, this course in general.
It's 0.07, but still for the putter that Jordan Spieth is.
There you go. All right, with that, we have 4 golfers in the over 10K range on DraftKings, Jack. Scotty Scheffler, 12,000. Justin Thomas, 10,500. Hideki Matsuyama, 10,200. Sam Burns, 10,000. Whoa.
Yeah, this is an event. I am back on Scotty Scheffler. I saw the week. Again, I had nothing against Scotty Scheffler. I said there's a 40% chance he's going to finish top 5, and he was really close to that. Obviously, that you're going against a course that you had to play so many different types of shots, high, low, fade, cut, draw. I mean, you had to do every single thing, hold it, and I needed to see a week, especially with how pricey he was. Now you're taking a look at Scotty Scheffler's digital playground over here. 12,000 is not unreasonable. Scotty Scheffler is a dog. His last 4 starts here have been 7, 1, 1, and 3. So, I mean, his 5th was a miscut, but you do the math on that. I do like Justin Thomas, though. Justin Thomas, historically, outside of like 2016 and 2017, has dominated here. So 17, 3, 3, 13, 8, 4, 12. He is a pure ball striker, and this is a course where I think he gains a lot of confidence from. And Justin Thomas has a spectacular wedge game. And I think that's really what's going to propel him this week. And if you can get A, Scotty, I would. But B, I don't think Justin Thomas is that much of a consolation prize. I think he should probably be a little higher on the percentage, actually.
I'm going to agree alongside Jack on this one. I mean, Scotty Scheffler is pretty far and away the best choice. His past 4 starts here, he's got 2 wins, a 4th place, and a 7th place. He basically lives for Phoenix. This is when he starts to kick into true Scotty form. One thing to note, as Jack and I highlighted, if you were nervous about him last week, he finished T9th. He led the field in strokes gained approach, and he did all that after really not playing golf for more or less 2 months at a time. Now he's going to an event that he is basically dominated in since he started playing it, so I'm very high on him if you can get to him at 12,000. Jack mentioned Justin Thomas. I kind of look back at his week because he finished T48, and it just didn't really feel like he deserved to finish T48. He did have the most birdies in the field last week. Let's just start there. He had the most birdies in the field. The issue being is that he also made a ton of big numbers and a ton of bogeys. He also really struggled with the putter. He lost 2 strokes putting and 2 strokes off the tee. Honestly, his driver's been a little wild. He changed to a long driver probably 10 or 12 rounds ago, and he's been really kind of mediocre with it, to say best. In his past 6 starts here, though, in Phoenix, he's got finishes of 3rd, T13, T8, 4th, and T12. I'll say this, I don't love him as much in DFS lineups, but if you can get a good T20 odds for him this week, I would recommend going that route instead. I think that is probably my preferred option as opposed to putting him in a DFS lineup.
Also, Hideki Matsuyama's not a consolation prize. He's won twice here, but this is the first year in like the last 2 that I think he's actually coming to this event healthy, and 10,200 is actually not an unreasonable price. And then Sam Burns is always just weird because His last 5 years have been 3, 6, missed cut, 22, missed cut. And you genuinely don't know what Sam Burns are getting outside of Valspar. So he's maybe going to do good.
Yeah. Yeah, my highlights on Sam Burns are not high. I mean, like Hideki, though, I'll start with him. He lost strokes on approach last week for the first time since June of 2024. He lost nearly 3 strokes on approach, and that's basically his worst approach performance in the past calendar year. There's semantics in there. I think he lost like 3.12, and then in like right around Masters time last year, he lost 3.14. So if you would like to fight me on the .02, that's why I said nearly his worst approach performance. He has played well here in Phoenix, as Jack mentioned. He won in 2016 and 2017. But since then, he's just had one top 10 finish. He's kind of leveled out slightly. I would go JT over Hideki. And then Sam Burns at TPC Scottsdale, he's gained on approach in each of his last 5 starts, which is great. That's usually what you're looking for out of Sam Burns. But if you look at his recent form, he hasn't gained on approach since the Tour Championship back in August. The rest of his game has treated him well, and he has good finishes as a result. But with all the water and desert in play this week, I don't really care how good he's been here previously. His approach play is just not in good enough form that I would want to get to him this week. So he might do well. I don't care. I'm avoiding it anyways. All right, Jack. With that, I mean, are we both agreeing here? Scotty 1, JT 2, Hideki 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We won't even dig into that any further then. All right. With that, into the 9K range we go. Sung Jae Im at 9,800 on top to Robert McIntyre at 9,000 on the bottom.
Okay. Well, let me leave you guys a little bit of tidbit of information. Tom Kim is going to contend for this event. Tom Kim is a dog. Tom Kim is a monster. Tom Kim is healthy. Tom Kim has his energy back. Tom Kim finally understands golf. So Tom Kim is going to be the play for 9K, and his finishes the Amex and Sony Open have no correlation to playing at Waste Management. It's him contending with 2 at the Hero, 2 at the Genesis, and 7 at AT&T. That means we lock him in like a mother effer. And then second, Sepp Straka. Sepp Straka has historically not played amazing here, but let me tell you, this guy is golfer of the year so far. This guy has been on fire. This guy's a monster. And he did it last week while not even feeling that great. He said coming into final round of Sunday, started feeling better. So I envision going to some nice warmth and calmness in Arizona. He's going to treat him right at 9,400 for a guy that's looking like the player of the year, even though he won't be. He is spectacular.
No, that's fair. I had highlights on both of them, so I'll skip over those. I'll mention Sahith Theegala at 9,500. He has 2 top 5 finishes here in his past 3 starts. He also goes crazy when it comes to ball striking here. 3 years ago, he gained 8.2 strokes ball striking. This past year, he gained 4.5 strokes ball striking. He's also gained at least 3.5 strokes with the putter in each of his 3 starts here in Scottsdale, which tells us for whatever reason he really likes the greens here. The bad part is that he hasn't gained a strokes gained metrics or a strokes gained metric when it comes to ball striking since the Procore back in September. So his form is just not there. There's a high likelihood that he's going to find it slightly this week. But I don't know if the risk is worth the reward considering the rest of this 9K range. There's so many other options. Jack highlighted Tom Kim. He's a bit of a tough watch, honestly, right now. He's like getting close to Patrick Cantlay levels of slow golf play more than anything else.
Let me pause. If you guys actually think slow play is an issue, you guys are idiots. Number one, these guys are playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're sitting on your couch. You barely even watching the event. You guys are losers that are too addicted to your phone where your dopamine levels are like, oh, I got to watch this. Let me scroll real quick. You guys are losers. Sit back and enjoy some professional golf. Caddy conversation. You're playing all this. You're looking at the analysis. You guys are idiots and losers if you think slow play is actually an issue. Tom Kim is not an issue. He took a minute to make a shot. That was his biggest critique. A minute and 12 seconds? First of all, a minute and 12 seconds for a guy that's hitting 70 shots a round. That's a little over an hour. So calm your brakes, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are losers.
He's playing slow, but it's all right.
No, he's not.
He's not lost strokes on approach since the Open Championship in July. So his approach play has been absolutely otherworldly. He has finishes here of T50 and T17, very respectable. He's going to be fine this week. Giuseppe, aka Sepp Straka, he's basically been playing out of his ass recently. He's gained on approach and off the tee in 8 straight tournaments. He also gained with the putter in 6 of those 8 tournaments. His weakness is around the green play, but that's going to be less of a concern for me, especially if he's going to continue to go nuclear with the irons and the driver. He hasn't played at Waste Management since 2022, so any of his course history is basically null and void prior to that, so I'm not too worried. Last guy I'll mention is a guy that I figured Jack would like, Rasmus Højgaard. He's probably going under the radar this week, but he has gained on approach in every tournament he's been in since Valhalla, aka the PGA Championship of last year, which was in May. To put that in the notes, that's 17 straight tournaments for Rasmus Højgaard. Just because of the iron play alone, I'm extremely high on him. And I also think he's a great option if you don't want to go to the popular options of like a Tom Kim or a Thagala. Anybody else highlight you in this 9K range, Jack? We're going to the 8K.
We can go to the 8K.
All right, Kurt Kitayama, 8,900 down to JT Siwoo Kim, 8,000.
First of all, call him by his correct name.
Siwoo shaking that ass, Kim.
Thank you very well. It's not Kim, but Kurt Kitayama is going to be a monster. He's actually so good here. He flies under the radar. You know him from breaking through at Torrey Pines. Kurt Kitayama has finishes of 8 and 23 here, gaining on every single strokes gain metric all across the board. So average finishing placement in 2 years of just a little over 15 is actually crazy. He's such a good ball striker, as Liam mentioned at the beginning. Ball striker's paradise. Maverick McNeely actually sucked last week. He might have played fine, but like this is so more of a style for Maverick McNeely than Pebble Beach is that I'm not even concerned about him. You should really lock him in. But the guy I'm actually most excited about, and you know me, I hate going to young guys, and I hate it because they're so overrated. Luke Clanton. Luke Clanton, I think, can actually dominate this event. And I think this is one of those guys that, like, his top 40 odds, I think I have a bet on him, are like right around like even. And his top 5 odds are like 100 to 1 or something like that. I don't remember offhand, but like you got to be worth a sprinkle here. You have to.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke Clanton is definitely interesting. I also like Kitayama. I'm less high on McNeely, but that's just because he burned me last week. Remember last week when I said, hey, we're going to try and be early on Jordan Spieth? Yeah, he was absolute buns. Never mind that. He lost in all strokes gained categories, basically finished close to last place. I'm not making that same mistake twice.
Whoa, he made you money.
Barely. It
counts.
He was bottom 10 in the field. He also lost me money on my DraftKings and my FanDuel. Well, DraftKings. I technically made it in double ups in FanDuel. But again, I'm not making the same mistake twice, so I would avoid him, especially considering he bumped up like, I think, $900 in price versus what he cost last week. Keep that in mind. Nick Taylor's a bit of an interesting option this week. He's coming into the field, basically turning the corner and playing much better. He's also got finishes of second and first here in his past 2 years. He's got 8 straight starts where he's gained on approach prior to this event. I think he could be a very solid option at 8,400 if you wanted to get to him this week. Jack talked about Luke Clanton. Again, biggest challenge with him is small sample size, but he has great off the tee and putting numbers to begin his career. His approach play had been great until about 2 starts ago, where he technically lost 0.2 and 0.26 at Sony and the Farmers. He's still a great option. So again, I think especially considering the odds he gets, he'll be fine this week. I'll talk about Siwoo. He's one of the more elite drivers of the golf ball. He consistently gains off the tee. And his run here at Waste Management, honestly, has kind of gotten progressively better. He started T50, then went T26, then T23, then T12, all in his last 4 starts. So I think he's a very solid option if you want to get to him.
I agree. Luke Clanton was minus 140 for T40 as of 5:30 on Monday Central Time. So
there you go. It's not bad odds.
All
right.
Last guy I'll mention really quick, Akshay Bhatia. Has an opportunity to go deep. I'm not saying he will, but he has a dire opportunity to go deep. So I wouldn't sleep on him.
It's not a coastal course though, so automatically it's a little bit of a interesting play when it comes to Akshay.
Well, I'm not worried about that anymore. He's proved he can play everywhere. He dominated in Texas.
It's true.
I'm not worried about him.
That's fair. And then the 8,200 is a pretty good price for him. But it's just tough because Clanton and Taylor are right above him, and I think both of them are also pretty good prices. So I don't think Akshay will get very much play this week from most of the group. So we'll see. All right, 7K range. All right, JJ Spawn 7,900 down to Matt Wallace. Yeah, Matt Wallace. 7,000. Good for him.
Why is Matt Fitzpatrick 7,700?
Because he hasn't been playing that good, I feel like.
If your definition of not playing good is 48-24 on the PGA Tour and on the World Tour 27-35 and 72, sign me up. Because he's played actually really well here, all things considered, averaging finishing placement of 18. This guy should dominate this track. I mean, you're taking a look, Pebble Beach, no comparison, absolutely zero to Waste Management. A bunch of World Tour events. The closest one you could say is the BMW, which really isn't finishing 35th. This is a course that he should actually dominate with, and I am locking him in. I think it'd be a shame if you missed him. Two of guys that I think are probably safer. One is Davis Thompson. I think he can bounce back after that little rough stretch he had. This is more of a traditional course, even though it's really not. And I really am happy to say this. Thomas Dietrich's back, baby. Thomas Dietrich is going to finish top 20. You can mark my words of that. He's actually crushed all things considered recently outside of Pebble Beach, but still he finished roughly about half in the field. 5th at Century, 15th at Farmers, 13th at Abu Dhabi, which is about as close as you really can get outside of probably Spain for international play. 30th at BMW. I think this is going to be a course that he can really showcase those ball striking numbers, and especially if the putter's like, it matters, obviously. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's not one of the most important metrics. I think you can get to him. One guy that I think you'd be an actual idiot to go to, his name is Charlie Hoffman. And I know it's controversial because he plays well here. Charlie Hoffman is not going to contend, and he's going to miss the cut. Mark my words.
All right, we'll agree to disagree on that one. Minwoo Lee, he's quietly been playing really good since the start of the swing season. He's yet to finish outside of top 40 in 8 straight starts. That's across like 3 tours, the Euro Tour, the Asian Tour, and the PGA Tour. He's getting that approach in 6 of those 8 starts. That's pretty noteworthy because his biggest weakness for a majority of last season was his approach play. So if he's figured out his irons, then at 7,900, he could easily finish top 20. If you're getting a top 20 out of a guy at 7,900, it's a great choice for me. I mean, so that's solid at 79. I will also talk Sam Stevens at 7,600. He's been playing great as of recently, gaining on approach in each of his last 8 starts. Solid off the tee game as well. He's quietly going to be another solid choice this week. Again, doesn't have the best short game of all time. Doesn't, not the most important thing on the planet here. 7,600, you're really just looking for like probably a T40-ish around for him. I think he's going to go under the radar for sure. I will mention Lucas Glover again at 7,400. He played last week and his price bumped. But why would he play worse here than he played at Pebble Beach? He gained 5.5 strokes on approach last week and was pretty average off the tee. If he does that again this week, or at least similar, he'll make a cut. And at 7,400, Jack's rule, under 7,500, make a cut. But he also missed so many putts last week and still gained 3.5 strokes with the putter. So if he finds basically the broomstick at all this week, I think he can be quite dangerous. He's also played Phoenix 15 times, only missed the cut twice. So he's a safe, probably, again, T45 or so this week. I will mention Charlie Hoffman because Jack already said he was going to miss the cut. I will start off by saying the main reason he's in this field is because he's sponsored by Waste Management. He's played this event 18 times. He missed the cut in 3 of the first 4 starts he's ever done. Otherwise, he's gone 12 for 14 on making the cut here. During that stretch, he has finished top 20 at least 5 times and always seems to play well for whatever reason around Phoenix time. I think he's a solid option to make the cut at 7,200. I'm not saying that you have to go to it, but Jack is very low on him. I think he's going to be fine.
He signed my flag as a kid with a green Sharpie. Scumbag.
So let's be clear on that. Jack doesn't hate Charlie Hoffman because of anything golf related. It's because when he signed his flag as a child, he did so in a
No,
horrible car.
Charlie Hoffman's actually really cool. He was actually one of the coolest people. He took time to talk to me as a kid, and whatnot. He signed my flag with a green Sharpie, that tool. But Charlie Hoffman, ball strike numbers have been tanking.
You
And
can say the same thing about Scythe.
well, yeah, Sahith is not going to do well here either. But
History doesn't say so. He's got 2 top 5s in the last 3 starts.
yeah, Jordan Spieth has said history said play well at Pebble Beach and he finished 69th. Sahith Theegala has sucked in the last 4 months of golf. But
True.
Charlie Hoffman, let me go back to it real quick. You're going to have 40% owned on DFS. That's the real. Everybody's going to go, oh, look, Charlie Hoffman. I remember he was in a playoff last year with Nick Taylor. Oh, Charlie Hoffman, Waste Management. He's going to be 40% owned at this price, and you're not going to gain anything. And plus, he's going to miss the cut. So
I don't think he's 40%. I think people think he's too highly priced to be 40% personally. But
yeah, he should be 5,200. That's what he should be.
If he was in the 6K price, I would be all over him even more. Let's be clear on that. So, whatever.
Yeah, Charlie Hoffman. Oh my God, it's just so.
What
dumb.
you don't like his back-to-back top 10s in this event?
Yeah, what I don't like is 65 at Zozo, 67 at Shriners, barely beating Corn Ferry guys in the Pro Cure. No, just no.
65 and 67 sound like a made cut at $7,200. I'm messing with you. All right. On to the 6K range we go.
Eric Cole's in this category. Completely forgot about him. Eric Cole's going to dominate. Watch out.
6K range, Patrick Rogers at 6,900 down to, who do I want to throw in the 6K? Oh, wow. Taylor Montgomery's the Stone Man. Good for him. 6,000.
2 years ago in this field was 8,300.
Oh, I'm well aware, yeah. Oh, Kiz is in this field too.
Yeah, screw Kiz. Kiz sucks. I love Kiz. Kiz is awesome. He's top 5. Bez is a monster. Bez is a approach game guy. He's a short game guy. This course, you don't need to be crazy off the tee because your ball's going to roll. He actually has one of the lowest spin rates in the entire PGA Tour on driving. So Bez at 6,900 with 2 top 10s in the year already. Obviously, they're in DP World Tour at ISPS and Alfred Dunhill. But you cannot take a look at Pebble Beach, Amex, and Century and compare it to this event. No shot, no way in the world. I love him. And then watch out for Jake Knapp this week. Jake Knapp has been slowly becoming an above average golfer again. And I think his driver should put him in a spot where he has low wedges to, firing irons in. That's his strength. He really loses a lot of strokes when he's playing those long irons. But with this course being relatively short for him, I think he's able to capitalize on that. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go out there and win or anything like that, because he's not necessarily a birdie fest guy, but he can put himself in spots where that putter shouldn't matter, and I could easily see him finishing top 30. Just a heads up.
Knapp is just prepping himself for the Mexico Open in 2 weeks, where he's got to go contend for his back-to-back wins. So that's what Knapp is really waiting for. He's just doing the warm-up right now to slowly get better until he can go contend again in Mexico. So I'm going to mention a guy at 6,800, Frankie Sappin. I think I've mentioned him 3 or 4 times so far to start the year, and he continues to make the cut, and they continue to leave him at a 6K price point. Doesn't really make sense, but we're going to go with it. His off-the-tee game, not really otherworldly, pretty average, all things considered. But he's gained on approach every week so far to start the year, which is great. That's what you're looking for. And again, we're just looking for a guy to make a cut. 6,800, Frankie Sappin. I'm going to go back to him until he keeps missing cuts. And right now he is not. So that is fine. I will mention I am less high on this guy, but Lanto Griffin. He's clearly off of his back injury woes. He's been playing much better as of recently. His approach play has also been good. He's gained in 6 of his last 8 starts. And again, I think he could be a viable option this week, albeit he's not my first choice. He's probably not my second choice either. His around the green play is actually quite rough. He hasn't gained in the last 7 starts around the green. So it's a scary option. But if you really want to be fancy, you can try and throw Lanto Griffin and see if that works.
Yeah, Nate Lash is in this field, then he's going to miss the cut. So
Jesus. All right. Hey, Joel Damon? No?
I actually like Joel Damon a lot this
Okay.
week. He's actually gained with the putter and strokes gained a lot. I completely forgot to even mention him, and I don't even think I was supposed to have a bet on him, and I completely think I forgot to do that. But let me check the notes I screenshotted because I was a degenerate and I was doing some work earlier. Here he is. Joel Damon has gained strokes gained putting for 3 straight weeks now. The last time he did that was in 2021, right where he picked up a win. Majority helps that Scottsdale is on POA. That rolls very flat and true. And as one of the events here, Scotty's actually putted very consistent here, which is, if you guys know Scotty for ball strike, you do not know him for putting. Similar greens to PGA West, where Damon putt actually really well a couple weeks ago. So I'm probably going to sneak in if I can find his top 40 odds really quick while Liam talks about whatever he wants to.
Cool. I mean, that's really pretty much it for me in this 6K range. It's a pretty rough range outside of the top, 1 to 2 guys Jack and I both mentioned. So do your best to avoid it. I mean, Matt McCarty's in this range, and some people seem to like him. He's played absolutely awful since he won at the Black Desert Classic, I want to say, last fall. I think he's missed 3 of his last 5 cuts. So he's not really a viable option. You do have TPC Lee at 6,600 as well, but he is not really the same level that he was a few years ago when he would crush it on TPC courses. So keep that in mind if you choose to go with any of these routes. I would generally try and stick with either Bez or Frankie Sappin if you're going to go into the 6K range. If you really have to dip, I think Damon is probably the best option in that lower range. So with that, I'm going to jump into the DraftKings and FanDuel pricing. Jack, do you have yours up, or are you still looking at bets for Damon?
No, I'm chilling now. I got my DraftKings pulled up, and it starts with Justin Thomas at 10,500. I think Scotty Scheffler, much like I said about Charlie Hoffman's, going to be extremely owned. So I'm taking a bit on him being out. Justin Thomas, 10,500. I have Tom Kim, who I think is going to contend at 9,600. I have Rasmus Højgaard at 9,200. I'm not in love with it. I have Thomas Dietrich at 7,300. Christian Zadenhout at 6,900, and Joel Damon at 6,400.
There you go. For me, I'm starting my DraftKings lineup with Scotty Scheffler. I know he's going to be highly owned. I don't really care. At 12,000. Then I've got Rasmus Højgaard at 9,200. I've got Lucas Glover at 7,400. I've got Daniel Berger, who I didn't really mention, also at 7,400. I think he could be a solid option this week. I've got Charlie Hoffman, who Jack doesn't like, at 7,200. And then I've got Frankie Sappin at 6,800.
Yeah, and my FanDuel, I do have Scotty in this one. I have Scotty at 13,400. Now, granted, just so you guys know, FanDuel is $10,000 more, so the prices are skewed. Justin Thomas, 12,100. Tom Kim at 10,800. Eric Cole at 8,500. Zadenhout at 8,100. And then Rio Hisasune at 7,100.
There you go. Mine on FanDuel is a little bit more balanced than that. I've got Scotty Scheffler, 13,000. Rasmus Højgaard at 10,500. Kurt Kitayama at 10,200. Sam Stevens at 9,100. Charlie Hoffman at 8,800, and then Frankie Sappin at 8,000. So, Jack, how many bets you got? 12, 15, 20?
Yeah, I mean, I really only had a couple guys I liked in this field, so I went slow with 15. I'll start. Actually, a lot of them are plus money, so you can pick your spots here. I have Zadenhout being the top African at plus 140. He's got to beat Thriston Lawrence and Eric Van Rooyen, who just EVR is going to randomly pop off and be a top 20 player in the world or a bottom 20 player in the world. There's really no middle, and it's hard to read him. And I think Bez is extremely consistent. I also have Bez at top 40 at plus 130. Tom Kim at top 30 at minus 125. I would have taken those same odds at top 20, but if you're going to give me a round even money for that, I have Sam Burns top 30 at minus 150. Matt Fitzpatrick top 40 at minus 150. Kurt Kitayama top 40 at minus 150. Thomas Dietrich top 40 at minus 105. Eric Cole top 40 at plus 115. Make it make sense. I do have Jake Knapp top 40 at plus 160. Rio Hisasune top 40 at plus 250. I have Justin Thomas top 20 at minus 150. Hope you're writing this down. And I have two that I'm backing. So one is playoff at plus 350. 8 out of the last 18 events have at the Waste Management actually ended in a playoff, which is astronomical. And of the remaining 10, it's like 5 or 6 of them have been within one shot. So you're talking about like an 80% clip of one shot or a playoff, and I'm going to make 2 units at minimum off that. I got to take that. With that being said, Scotty Scheffler by 7. Last two, I do have Luke Clanton top 40 at minus 140 and Joel Damon top 40 at minus 190. If you're lazy and you don't want to pause and rewind this, I'll post this all on TikTok in about an hour. So you guys can go watch it there.
Jack said minus 190 for Joel Damon. He meant plus 190. You guys know what he meant. There was 15 bets there. Yeah, he knew what he was going for, so that's fine. For my bets, I have 5 of them. I'm doing significantly less. I have Rasmus Højgaard over Nikolai Højgaard, minus 140. I have Minwoo Lee over Ryan Fox at minus 150. I have Tom Kim over Benny An at minus 120. I have Kurt Kitayama over Jordan Spieth at plus 100. And then I have Rasmus Højgaard top 40 at minus 125. So overall, pretty mellow average week for me. But I feel really good, especially on the Tom Kim over Benny An bet. Cool. All right. With that, how many wild cards you got, and what are the odds, Jack?
I have 4, and I'm putting 0.25 units. And with that being said, I already put 1 unit on one accidentally, but I will be doing 0.25. I just add all the bets up. Tom Kim top 10 is plus 260. Like I said, I think he's going to contend this week, and I love those odds. I mean, we wish they were longer, but I also have Sepp Straka top 10 at plus 300. Sepp Straka has been playing so good that you cannot tell me at 3-1 odds you're going to let that slide. I think that's ridiculous. I have Luke Clanton top 10 at plus 450. This guy can score. He's not afraid to attack pins. I absolutely love it. And then Jake Knapp top 10 at plus 1,000. He's not necessarily a huge birdie guy. This is an event that he can exploit with his distance and his swing and really capitalize with those wedges, which should put him in more positions than a lot of other players. So I think he has a shot at this. I think plus 1,000 is wrong. I'd say it's about plus 600 for real odds.
Makes sense. For my wild card, I just have the one. I have Minwoo Lee top 20 at plus 220. I also want to highlight this. I just saw this come through. Another reason Jack probably doesn't like Charlie Hoffman. He just said that he on his presser that slow play is a major issue.
It's not
when it comes to golf. So Charlie Hoffman is not a fan of the slow play, which is another reason Jack doesn't like him. I'm kidding. All right, with that, on to winners. Jack, who are your winners this week?
Oh, didn't even know you went with your wild cards.
I said Minwoo, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
My bad. Tom Kim, I think Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler. I haven't seen your odds. Okay, good. I think are going to be easy picks, and I think that I don't know if Scotty's going to win. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. There's good news. He's probably going to win by 7. Justin Thomas is also a guy that I think. But as to your point, his driver's been really off. If he can, first of all, he needs to stop using a 48-inch driver, go to 46.5, if you ask me, put a lot more consistency, puts himself in those wedges, you know it. But Tom Kim is my guy. I have Maverick McNeely, and I did put Luke Clanton because there's 2 other courses, one of them being Deer Run, that I would actually trust him in a position for that. So I think this can be an event he really capitalizes. So those are my 3.
Yeah, in a perfect world, if I could pick Scotty Scheffler and play him 30 times a year as a winner's pick, I probably would. Obviously, the odds would be significantly better, but you can't play him every week. I think if you want to get to him this week, totally understand. And in a normal world where I had unlimited opportunity to, sure, I'm taking Scotty this week. That's just not the case. So because of that, I am going out of left field. I'm going Rasmus Højgaard as a winner. I'm going Nick Taylor as a winner. And I'm going Kurt Kitayama as a winner. The Kurt Kitayama one is probably the low price one that I think is the sneaky play, the one that I like the most. But I don't think it's going to end up being a big name. I could totally see this being an out of left field golfer win this golf tournament. And my hope is that it's going to be either Rasmus or Nick Taylor or Kurt Kitayama.
Done deal.
So we'll see. All right. With that, that is the waste management. Next week we do have the Genesis, but it's not going to be played at the Genesis. That's going to be kind of messy, right? Because of the fires.
Yeah, it's at Torrey.
Satori. Yeah. Okay. Good. You looked at me like I was crazy, and I was like, did I miss something there?
Well,
So,
played at the Genesis is funny.
well, yeah, we're at the Genesis, but it's going to be at Torrey Pines. Blah, blah, blah. But with that, that is all this week. If you are a big Super Bowl fan, good luck with the Super Bowl. I think Jack and I can both say pretty confidently go Eagles because we just don't need to see the Chiefs win any more than they already do. But have fun betting that. Have fun with the waste management, and we will see you next week for the Genesis. Deuces.